There's Mr. Kibbe. Your audio is still connecting. Stand by. There you go. You should be okay now, Alan, if you unmute yourself. Need to unmute.
We go.
There you go. New technology.
I've been sitting here waiting with the little wheel going around, so waiting for the host.
So you didn't get the hint. Is that what you're saying?
What?
Nothing.
I guess, are we ready for the meeting to come to order? We have a forum.
We have 5. 6, sorry. 7. No, we got more.
Yeah, we're fine. Calling the meeting to order at 6:06 p.m. This is the January 22nd meeting of the Norwalk Harbor Management Commission. Welcome. And welcome to 2025, the current brand new year. This is a little bit different in terms of the way I'm getting into this from the new meeting portal at the city of Norwalk, so very exciting. We will start with our roll call. Amelia, do you want to read the roll call?
Sure, I can do that. Commissioner McDonald. Oh, you're muted, but you're here.
We see him.
Present.
Commissioner
you.
Mangles,
Present.
Commissioner Jones,
Right. Present.
Commissioner Pinto,
Present.
Commissioner Remsen,
Present.
Commissioner Gifford,
Yes, here.
and Commissioner Kibbe, Chair Kibbe.
Thank you. Do we still do the Pledge of Allegiance?
No reason not to.
Not on our agenda, but I kind of think it's a good idea. Well, stand, please. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
The flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. As you were. Thank you. First, next item is public participation. Amelia, do you have any public participants?
Yep, we have a few people who are here as attendees. If you would like to speak about an item on the agenda, not to exceed 3 minutes, please use the raise your hand feature at the bottom of your screen. All right, it looks like we don't have any public comments this evening. Oh, we have one hand. Please just state your name and then the agenda item that your comment pertains to.
It's Michael Madigan, 32 South Beach Drive, Norwalk. I'm calling about the 30 South Beach dock that was taken off the agenda because it was approved at deep. I'm trying to understand how that happened without any input from the Harbor Commission.
It's simply
It's astounding.
Unless Jeff, do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to do it?
No, go ahead. Talking Jeff Mangles or Jeff Stedman?
Jeff Stedman. All right.
Yeah, I can speak.
No,
Yeah, we can speak to that, Alan. We met with Sue Jacobson this morning. Yeah, about that. But go ahead. Go ahead, Jim. No, go ahead. Yeah, we met with Sue Jacobson this morning and we discussed that issue and we told her that there have been several comments from the general public regarding the that application and there wasn't enough time that the public had to review that. And that's also held true with our aspect as well, because when we received the application, the original application, the day after our October meeting, and we tabled that till the November meeting, which was a normal process. But this particular application that we didn't follow through on, we should have followed through on, is a 440 dock, which the DEP will expedite, sort of run very quickly through that application, and oftentimes approve that application without, again, any comment from the commission. But in any event, we did comment on that, and we did bring that to the attention of the DEP, and we questioned them as to why they went ahead and did that. And Jeff, you want, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
I think we learned from this. John and I talked this morning with DEP people. It's not an application, it's a registration, because it's a registration for compliance with the conditions of a general permit. And you know what that is, and there's a general permit for 440 docks. So theoretically, it could be approved by DEEP the day after they receive the registration. There is a requirement for notification of the Harbor Commission, and I think we really need to work with DEEP on a understanding that they will consider comments from the Harbor Commission. I think what the commission should have done is the first time when we received that should have contacted DEEP and said, please, we can't put it on the agenda for tonight. We just received it. We'll put it on next week or next month. We didn't do that.
Well, that's been basically, I wouldn't say it's my particular fault, but
that we learned from that. But
that we have to do, as soon as that 440 application comes through, we're gonna just have to call DEP to tell, if we have to delay it a 1 month,
Yeah,
we
but-
just have to
but-
do that.
And there was a similar situation that came up in Stanford with a 440 dock. And when the commission first received it in Stanford, that meeting, there were a number of residents who expressed concerns about it. So the Harbor Commission immediately or the next day contacted DEEP and said, look, there are concerns about it. We've got to give the concerned parties an opportunity to speak, and DEEP didn't act on it right away. We didn't do that in this instance. I think we can learn from that. But there's other issues having to do with this too that affect not just this application, but others. And we pointed out to DEEP that the application, you look at it, the apparent extension of the littoral property line raises an issue because the proposed dock would extend into the neighboring property. And we asked DEEP, how did they decide that this was something that they could approve without some sort of a sign off by the neighbors owner, which is the beach association. I don't know if I have the name correctly.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting response from DEEP, similar to an issue we encountered on Wilson Point a few years ago. DEEP itself made the decision that the extension into the neighboring littoral area was not going to affect the neighbors'
Usage
right.
of that area.
Usage of the littoral area or opportunity to do something there. They made that decision, and I think we would say that that's not a good decision, absent that property owner expressing no objection. But the issue here was it wasn't a permit application. There's no requirement for contacting the Harbor Commission by DEEP before they make a decision. And we really should have, when we received it, asked DEEP to hold off until we had a chance to look at it. But
Thank you.
it doesn't
Thank you, Jeff.
one more thing, it doesn't resolve that issue with the apparent encroachment into the neighbor's littoral area.
Yeah, the neighbors still have a chance to refute that in a public hearing.
Do that with DEEP, correct? DEEP's
That's
hearing?
correct. Yeah, not with us, but with DEEP. Yes. Yeah, and the other thing that we learned is that, well, a few other things that we'll learn. We'll discuss that on the
This
side.
has been, the point is, this has been taken out of our hands, and DEEP is just rightfully, I mean, I guess it's not illegal, it's just taking it over. So
Well,
that's the story.
as I said,
I think, look, in the future, we should try to develop a relationship with DEEP so that when
we do have a relationship.
But
We don't need, gentlemen, we don't need to carry that on.
No, we'll handle that on our end. You know, as I said, we know.
No, I think I think it's good. You know, I've worked a lot with Sue Jacobson too on other projects. So, you know, I think we all can participate with there. But you're correct. That needs some attention.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should.
That answered the question to our person that asked it.
I'm sorry, Alan.
I was just wondering if the person that asked the question is satisfied here.
Oh,
Well, I
that's
think I think
Sorry,
on their behalf, I would ask, what's their next step if they still have issues? Since it's out of our hands,
Right.
who do they have to contact at Deep? When is the hearing? Do they have to ask for a hearing?
No provision for a hearing.
No, there's no provision.
You just said, no, you just said that the homeowners association could bring it up at a hearing.
Well, they have
I
to,
didn't mean to say at a
would not-
hearing that they could bring it up.
Bring it
but
up.
Deep, but there's no provision for a public hearing on
on
a
this
general
application.
permit registration.
Can we connect the homeowners with the right people to contact?
Yeah, we can give them Sue Jacobson's,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll give the Sue Jacobson, we can give them Sue Jacobson's, email address.
okay, I can take that.
Let me see here if let me see if I can dig that out here. Hold on. Let's see. Her email address, her phone number is 860-424-3693. And her email address is Susan, SUSAN .Jacobson, JACOBSON @CT.gov.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can't hear you, Mike.
Hello? Did Mike get that?
Mike said, thank you.
And
He
they
did.
are,
He said, thank you.
also, we just got today the Army Corps' approval of that dock as well. That came through this afternoon.
For Mike's benefit, is there a project number that they would reference on that?
Let me see here. Hold on. Let me see if I can grab
Susan.
that. Yeah. Oh God, let me see here. Just 1 minute, Alan. All right. Harbor. And let's see, standing committees. Application review. Oh, go up here more. That was 30 South Beach. And yeah, 30 South Beach permit. That's the Army Corps. They have several numbers here. It's wait a minute. Let's see. We have assigned this project file number as NAE 2024 2024 -02462.
You got that, Mike?
Sorry, I keep getting muted. Is that the Army Corps number?
That's the Army Corps number. Yeah, this is the Army Corps that was sent to this. Let's see. This was sent to Douglas Brody at 30 South Beach Drive.
Right.
This was a letter, right? And it says, "Dear Mr. Brody," and it gives all the information that was needed. So he's got that information. Do you know?
So
do
this,
you know this, Mr. Do you know this Douglas Brody?
sure, I live next door to him.
Okay, well, there you go. Knock on his-
Do we, does he need to get a permit in addition to this? So he doesn't need any permit from P and Z or anything to,
Planning and zoning? I don't think so.
No, no zoning permits are needed for dock installation.
No. He's got core approval and he's got deep approval.
well, I have a call into Deep, but they haven't called me back and I didn't know who
Well,
to
the Deep-
contact. So I
Deep is
called the
not the-
general number on the form.
Well, they're not, when now?
No, I called them earlier
Oh,
today.
that letter was from Kevin Cotley,
Totally.
chief of the regulatory division.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Mike, that should give you enough to get further along. Feel free to call me if you have any trouble. We'll certainly support
Thank
you
you.
in this, but it's really gone out of the Harbor Commission's hands at this point.
Well,
unfortunately.
we're gonna stay on top of this from here on in, Alan, because we've been getting blindsided quite often, with
Understood.
several of these applications. And it's getting
Understood.
very annoying.
Thank you. Okay, Amelia, do we have any more public participation?
No hands raised right now, but if anybody would like to speak, please just use the raise your hand feature at the bottom of your screen. I think that is it for public comment tonight.
Moving along, correspondence. I don't know if anybody has a correspondence. I received a correspondence from Miss Lynell Jones, which had gone to Amelia. And it was forwarded to all of you. All I'll say about that is that the Steve Kleppen has already replied to that previously. So there really is, I don't need to have it read to you all then. Lori.
Yeah, I'd like to address that piece of correspondence. It went to the entire commission. It was entitled, it was from Lynell Jones, entitled Harbor Minutes Raise Legal and Ethical Questions. It never describes that. I don't believe that's true. I don't know, she never describes what she means by that in the email. But in the email, she does ask, which she has asked again and again, and I'm not so sure she's ever gotten a straight answer on this. Why did the Harbor Commission not review work done on Wilson Point in October 2024? And she's asking the same, why did the Harbor Commission not review work done on Nathan Hale Drive? These are both in Wilson Point in 2016. And the reason is because neither of those, none of that work needed to go through the Planning and Zoning Commission. So the work that was done on Wilson Point in October 2024 got over-the-counter permits from the Planning and Zoning Department. That's different than going in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Harbor Commission only reviews applications that are seen by other city commissions and state agencies. So since the drainage work that was done here, where catch basins were installed to mitigate puddling issues, Lynell Jones calls them storm drains, but they actually are not storm drains. They're catch basins that were then connected via pipes to existing storm drains. Those didn't need any kind of permitting, as reviewed by Planning and Zoning Department, DEEP, et cetera. So therefore, they never came across our desk. So I'm just going to read for everybody's clarification so you understand. And Lynell, I know you're on the call so that you can understand this. This is per the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan, section 8.4.2, quote, in accordance with section 22A-113P of the Connecticut General Statutes and section 69-21 of the Norwalk Code, the Harbor Management Commission may review, for consistency with the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan, specific development proposals affecting real property in, on, or contiguous to the harbor as submitted to or proposed by city agencies, including but not limited to the following agencies: Planning Commission, Zoning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals, Shellfish Commission, Department of Health, Department of Public Works, Recreation and Parks Department, Conservation Commission, Redevelopment Agency. So just to be clear, what the Harbor Commission reviews are applications that come to us from other city commissions or state agencies. So that's, if it doesn't have to go in front of a commission, if it doesn't need permitting in front of a commission, as I just described, the permits we got in October 2024 were over-the-counter permits for earthen berms, not for the catch basins. They were for the earthen berms that Wilson Point installed to help direct water to the catch basin. Catch basins which filter the water before they go to the storm drains. So I just want to make that clarification. It's come up many, many times over the years. Over 40, 50 times since I've been a commissioner, starting in 2021. So hopefully that provides some clarification and education for everybody. Thank
you,
you.
Lori. Thank you very much. Amelia, any other correspondence? Anybody else have correspondence?
I received that correspondence earlier today that was forwarded to all of you. And then I received quite a bit of correspondence today about the dock at 30 South Beach. So I was helping a lot of residents get on the same page, and mostly just letting them know that it was out of your hands, and it was approved by DEEP previously. But that was a bulk of my day was spent responding to those concerned citizens.
Thank you, Amelia. No further correspondence from anyone? Moving on to acceptance of minutes, we have before us Ms. Laurie Jones, who's going to ask for acceptance of the December 18th, 2024 minutes.
Make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, great. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Minutes are accepted from December 18th, 2024 meeting. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the application review committee, Dr. Pinto.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have just one application from 46 Shorehaven Road. It's a pre-submission application, and the Mr. Hiltz is the sponsor. And this is a application put forward by Ann Gervais, who plans to construct a 4 by 54 foot timber pier. Let me see if I can, Amelia, let me see. I think I can use the, hold on here. Here we are. There we are. So the application here is, you can see this on the screen? Okay, so they plan to put a 3 foot by 36 foot aluminum ramp, 5 foot by 6 foot timber ramp loading float, and a 7 foot by 14.25 piling anchored timber floating dock for private recreational boating, launching, and landing. According to what I can see from this document here, let me see if I can increase this a little bit more, that the construction may involve the use of a work barge, which may be stationed in this particular area here. So what we're looking at is a dock from Shorehaven Road here, a dock extending out in this direction here. It is going over some shellfish flats. I'm not sure if the Shellfish Commission had access to this, and if it's not, I will send that to them. But the dock seems to be sort of sectioned adequately between littoral rights, which we understand is not a major concern right now to DEP, but we need to keep that in mind. But nonetheless, if Mr. Hiltz is here, if you have any, I think he's got some additional information, perhaps, if you want to ask him questions about this dock. Is he here?
I'm here.
Yeah. John, is there anything else you want to add to this? I mean, you plan to build this dock from a construction barge?
Yeah, hi, good evening. John Hiltz for the applicant. I talked to Gary Wetmore at GNC about, his ability to access the site from the water. And actually, he recently went in and drove pilings to the southwest at Sprite Island's dock inside of the bridge going to Shorehaven. So I basically questioned him as to his ability to get in there, and he said he can get in there. He says he's going to have to withdraw frequently because there's no good place to sit that won't be tided out. So the applicants understand that obviously entails cost and attendant with the construction process instead of they'll have to come in and out on several tides. I imagine that the landwardmost pilings at the landward terminus of the pier will probably be just augered in by a land machine. That's a far reach for Gary's machine. Site is well vegetated. Actually, interestingly enough, you can see the call out for the sea blight on the the upper portion of the intertidal area. When
You're talking the section here, John?
I'm sorry?
You talk which section you're talking and the
proposed north elevation, you can see there's an area of sea blight right about the second piling in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was interesting because the first time I visited the site with the applicants, that wasn't there. And I went back to do my field notes, and it had populated the entire upper intertidal area. And I was like, why did that happen? And I had visited the site right in the time of the season when it dies off completely and disappears. So thus they went from, considering a 440 dock to the need for a structures dock such as this. So there's that aspect. And just to touch on something you mentioned earlier, yeah, Steve Bartush and the Shellfish Commission have been provided with a copy, so they have this for their review.
And again, you plan float stops on the dock itself.
Yep.
And I'm not sure, as I said, the Shellfish Commission certainly will have some consideration with regard to the substrate in that particular area.
Certainly. Yeah, it's a lot of mud there. There's obviously shellfish. They are natural beds. I don't think you have any oyster, suitable habitat out where the float is or where the ramp spans, but obviously in the area of the Spartina, it firms up and there can definitely support some oysters in there.
I mean, other than that, I don't know, does any commissioners have any input as far as what questions they want to ask or what? I mean, other than that, I don't see anything. This is a pre-application, which we'll certainly respond to. And we wait certainly on a full length application subsequent to that, John. But
were there any quick questions, John? Thanks for giving this level of detail. Can you just scroll out or scroll in a little bit so we can see the distance or depth of what that overall is from basically shore to end of ramp? Is that what, 54? I couldn't really read that.
oh wait, are you talking on the diagram on its right side over here?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
98. So overall 98 foot long.
Okay, so what is the I guess the open area right back there? Because I know there's a couple areas with some fingers that come off of the marsh from Shorehaven that get fairly thinner.
Sorry, I don't follow.
The whole area, I don't know if there's like an aerial view just to see where that 100 feet lands coming through that whole space.
Okay.
Like
It's
more of a photo than a
you're
drawing.
across from the golf course. So there's a considerable amount of wetland, vegetation. I would say, just based on memory, probably 150 feet beyond the proposed floating docks location.
Wait, you're talking this area right now, if you can see the cursor, this area right in here? Is that what you're referring to? Matt?
No, I'm talking on the other end. So basically,
Oh, down here.
yeah, I mean, what's left of the estuary for people to pass? That's my question.
Yeah,
Basically, if you
as I
scroll out
said,
to the left,
you
if
you
there's
have
like
a
a photo.
considerable, let me see if I can get a Google Earth measurement for you real quick.
You're talking outside in this area right here where you have water.
Correct. I mean, it's pretty skinny. I mean, growing up as a kid trying to water ski back there was rather illegal and unsightly, but nonetheless, it's a pretty thin area that you do get a handful of fishermen and lots of kayakers, and just to make sure that there's at least enough space for other people to use that area who inherently come in through the Canfield Island Bridge and then come back out through
Oh, right. Oh, I see. Right.
Bermuda
Right.
Lagoon.
No, good question. Hold on, I'm zooming in on this. I would say from you probably have to the closest outcropping of tidal wetlands vegetation, you probably have about 275 feet from the floating dock to that
That's at high tide or low tide?
at high tide.
High tide, yeah.
So at low tide, will there at least be enough of a
At
canal
low
in the
tide, there's
center to-
nothing in there. The depth, if you look at the plan, the depth is 2 feet.
No, I'm just talking about, with any navigable water back there, is there enough
No,
space for people to get
there's,
something?
you have a foul egg, you basically have that skinny, outflow of water between Bermuda Lagoon and down by the bridge. So it doesn't support, you can't go in there at low tide and use this for any type of boating.
No, but I'm even talking at, mid-tide, just to make sure that there's some passable area.
Oh,
for
yeah, no. at
Other people to
mid-tide,
use that
definitely,
space.
You definitely have, again, looking back, again, I'm just playing with Google Earth while we speak.
What's the street address here? What number?
That's 46
It's on Canfield Island,
Yeah,
it's,
I'm trying to find the exact.
46 Shorehaven.
Shorehaven Road.
It's basically equidistant from the opening at
Yeah,
Bermuda Lagoon and
About in the
the
middle.
Canfield Island Bridge.
yeah, right. I mean, that outflow is maybe 30 feet wide, 35 feet wide. On the applicant's side, we have about 70 feet of mud. On the opposite shore, before we get to any vegetation, you get about 155 feet of mud. So it's definitely, it's wider on the opposite shore. The flat is wider there than it is alongside where the applicants.
This is sitting on mud during low tide. It's gonna be sitting on the substrate down in here.
Yeah, but I guess, Mike, is it looks like it's sticking out all the way. There's a very, there's a very narrow, like, I hate to call it a channel because it's just the lowest point, but this
Right.
extends all the way out and into it, and that bit itself is very narrow. So I think
No, understood, but you have to understand is that it's on the east side of that channel, for lack of a better term, right? And that area at low tide is obviously exposed, mud. Same on the west side of the channel, it's all exposed mud. So I mean, if you have adequate water to navigate in there, let's say you get to half tide, you have a wider expanse on the west side of the channel than you do on the east side.
So let me ask you this, just looking at your drawing and the contour lines you show, which parts of the deepest part is where the dock itself is located,
No,
right?
the deepest part is beyond the dock.
That's mud again.
It's all mud. It's
Where the
all mud.
barge is, edge of the barge
The
is sitting.
deepest part, if you go to the next contour beyond the waterward face of the floating dock, that's -2.
You're talking here, the second line here, this first line. this line
Yes, exactly. Those two lines are both -2.
there. Right.
So that's the surveyor located the channel, okay?
Right.
So that being said, you have approximately, that's a 7, you approximately have 10 feet beyond the waterward face of the floating dock to the east
Okay.
channel, the east side of the channel. Not that there's a channel per se, but that's, where there's water at low tide.
Well, let's say you're not going to have a large vessel, navigating through those waters at any, particularly during low tide or mid tide.
No,
No.
no, you can't.
I mean, the
No,
only
but-
time that you ever see anything other than a small,
Yes.
at best center console for fishing and stuff
Yeah.
is, during storm, season and, things where people are trying to, get away from
Get away
the
from-
eastward facing,
Right.
blow
Right.
and hide back there. That's the only reason that people would go back in that space
Yeah.
other than just passing through.
Well, any commissioners, any other comments before we reply with certainly some of our standard language regarding, sitting on the bottom, et cetera, making sure that the barge that's doing some operation over there is, pays heed to the harbor master for placement of that dock, and they remove that that barge at a reasonable time, so it doesn't sit on the bottom.
It's no objection to it. moving
No
forward with the
objection for-
permit
no,
application.
we have
We
no-
reserve
that-
the right to review
That's,
it.
yeah, that's the bottom line is in this case here, it's a pre-submission application that we certainly have no objection for the application moving forward.
You looking for a motion, John?
Yes,
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Based on our standard language and removal, notice to harbor master, et cetera.
and that obviously we reserve the right to review the application and when it's in its final form. That's sort of our standard
Mhm.
line on that. All right, so anyone want to second that?
Yeah, I'll second that, John.
All right, thank you, Jeff. All right, all those in favor, moving forward on this?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
aye, we're all five, all right, unanimous, great.
Not
Well, that-
unanimous, John.
Oh, no, oh, who,
Chris,
Chris, okay.
Not here.
You
He will
abstain?
be here.
Negative, no? Oh, I'm sorry, are you talking about yourself, Chris, or,
yes, I'm voting no.
okay. Okay. Well, other than that, that is our last application for this evening.
17 Mac Street is,
I'm sorry. No, the Mac Street application is still pending. Alan. We have a comment from the DEP with regard to that. That's going to be sent to us, and we'll have that on the agenda for next month.
thank you very much. Thank you,
There-
John.
There were certain issues that they had as well as we had with that application. So the new application is pending, and we'll get that from Sue Jacobson shortly.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Chairman's report. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm going to hear we're starting the year 2025. I'm looking forward to a rollicking season and having Don on board for the new year. So I think that's all terrific. I don't have a in-depth report, so I'm going to go right along to Chairman Bartish from the Harbor Commission, Shellfish Commission.
Hey there, thanks, Alan. Don't really have a report as we had no new business, but just to note, we did receive 46 Shore Haven from Mr. Hiltz, and we'll be reviewing it in the February meeting. We will be doing a site inspection, I would assume, and I don't know if John is still on here. I don't see it. I think it might be a good idea perhaps to stake the waterward terminus of this, so we can get an idea of where that actually is. So I'll go ahead and make that request, and we'll set up a low tide date to go out and see it. And other than that, that's all we have. Enjoy Norwalk Shellfish, and permits will be on sale this weekend. If anyone wants to brave the warm temperatures, I suggest a dry suit. And I yield back.
Questions for Chairman Bartish? Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Moving on to staff reports. Harbor Master. Does anybody report from Harbor Master?
I don't have anything from the Harbor Master.
And I don't see Justin or
Then
Owen.
I see Justin, but
Oh, okay. I didn't see him on the, oh, there we go. They didn't know if they had anything to add.
Yeah, I'm
So-
on, guys, but I don't have anything as far as the Harbor Master stuff goes, unfortunately.
Hey, Justin.
How you doing? You got me?
we got you.
Yeah, I'm on. I don't have anything to report as far as the Harbor Master report goes, unfortunately.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I know that Bruce was down at the inauguration. I saw his picture, actually.
Oh, okay,
down
yeah.
there. So.
So.
The next is mooring and harbor safety. I'm sorry.
All right.
Boy, I can't read tonight. Consultant Stedman.
There is a lot to report tonight, if you bear with me. You know, we're waiting for the allocation of the funds for the rebuilding of the Veterans Park Marina. As you know, last year the Port Authority approved our application as part of $10 million or so of authorizations. But the bond commission has not yet allocated the funds. We're hoping it would be on the special meeting, the agenda of the special meeting of the bond commission, which was December 20th. However, it wasn't. We've been talking with the Port Authority staff. They're not saying that this represents any sort of a problem. It's just sort of the way that this process has worked with the allocation of funds. The last round of SHIP grants, the monies weren't allocated until the next year also. So we're not we don't anticipate that this is a problem, but we'll keep our eyes on it. And as you know, there was a issue with the Port Authority with regard to another significant excess expenditures for the state pier work. But we're not anticipating we'll see what happens in the spring. There also is a new executive director of the Port Authority. I haven't met with him yet, but I was asked to meet with him and go over the harbor management issues in the towns that I'm familiar with, and I haven't done that yet. That may happen next week. So that's one matter. There's nothing for us to do right now with that. But you know, the other thing is, I think I mentioned it. I'm sorry I missed the last two meetings, or most of them, because they weren't on the regular date. But again, we've talked about when this marina is built, perhaps to establish a memorial for Tony Mobilia. We talked about perhaps naming the marina after him, just as we named the Donovan Boating Center, but at least to have an interpretive panel like we did for John Frank at Calf Pasture, to have an interpretive panel by the marina about harbor management with an inset to Tony. But so it's not immediate, but I think we need to follow up on that. The Norwalk River Watershed Initiative. Last time we talked, I mentioned that they've retained a consultant with monies provided from Sea Grant to update the watershed-based plan. I've been trying to get a copy of the scope of work. And I missed the meeting last Thursday because there was a miscommunication and I didn't get the phone number. But I've asked if we could get a copy of the scope of work, and the Southwest Conservation District was going to try to do that. I've also been working with the Southwest Conservation District to scan and provide the documents that we put together and others put together when the Watershed Initiative was first started, largely at the recommendation of the Harbor Management Commission. The thinking is that those documents, which were all lost when the Watershed's website disappeared, should be part of the historical record. And when people are working in the watershed now, they should know where we started and what the issues were, especially when you have a big firm that doesn't have it's not a local firm doing this work. So we're trying to reestablish the historical record of the Norwalk River Watershed-based plan and the role of the Harbor Management Commission and also the Shellfish Commission. The big thing that we've been working on is again, which we think some of us do, is an existential matter, which is the proposed amendments to the Harbor Management Act. The amendments that weren't acted on last legislative session because DEEP objected to them. So we've reestablished, a number of towns have, beginning with the initiative again of the city of New London. So a bill has been introduced, a concept bill, and we have the number. It's LC 02629. The title is a Harbor Management Act proposed concept bill. And that was introduced by Representative Arzino and Representative Baumgardner. Arzino represents Greenwich, Baumgardner, Groton, and Stonington, and another person included that. So that was introduced last Friday. The Fairfield delegation also introduced a bill. And now those two groups are getting together to coordinate what they're doing, especially in the drafting. And we've put together the updated proposal, just like from the Harbor Management Association, again, volunteers doing this. We put together a proposal that we've sent to other towns that are working on this. And I know Stamford today was going to be contacting its legislators. And John has sent a letter to Mayor Rilling asking for his assistance in working with Norwalk's delegation.
Well, first off, Mayor Rilling has agreed to assist whatever we need to do to get this moved forward.
But again, this affects all of the harbor commissions, and again, there's no logical reason that DEEP can put forth, in my opinion. Well, without going on, we've gone over this and over this, but so the concept bill has been introduced. We're looking for co-sponsors of it, and then we're going to have to work together to draft the language. Baumgardner is the new co-chair of the Environment Committee. It's a different chair than there was when we introduced this last year. So we'll see how that goes. And I know the Mayor Passero in New London has reached out to DEEP. He's hoping to meet with DEEP management and also the commissioner. So that's something that's taking a lot of time, and all the commissions are concerned about this and working together. Also, another topic is, you see the letter of response from DEEP to our questions. Chairman Kibbe and Chairman Bardish wrote certainly a reasonable letter questioning the public hearing process for the Eversource project. And that was months ago, but we just recently received a response, which my suggestion is we need to look at that over the next month, and next month at the Harbor Commission meeting, decide how to respond to that. Because it doesn't acknowledge any issues or whatever you might want to say. So I think that's something in the next month to work on. Also, is it February 8th is the annual gathering of shellfish commissions in New Haven. And I'll be given an opportunity to speak about this concept bill. And because the Harbor Management Commission's authorities also have a role in implementing shellfish management measures. And so it's a concern to all the shellfish commissions. And so I'll have a chance to talk about that on February 8th. And also I've been talking, Mike isn't here tonight, and I didn't get it, I just tried to catch up with him before the meeting, and Mike Matthews. So I'm working on this public, how would you describe it? Public information presentation. And I've talked about this with the Bureau of Aquaculture Director, Carey, and also with the Sea Grant, on the history of shellfishing in Norwalk, and tying that into the oyster trail concept. I haven't finished that, but using the images of the WPA murals in City Hall, those, when you look at those are really good, talking about the history of shellfishing in Norwalk, and the Norwalk as the oyster capital of Connecticut. I talked about that, and I believe the governor has referred to Norwalk as the oyster capital, but we have to check that, and the Bureau of Aquaculture Director was going to do that too. But in any event, we'll have a display of regarding Norwalk Harbor at the annual meeting of shellfish commissions in New Haven on the 8th. Also, I talked a little bit with DEEP. I don't know what the status is of what was called the resiliency plan for the perimeter of Veterans Park. We haven't seen that yet, but that needs DEEP approvals. DEEP hasn't seen it yet either. But that's something to think about looking ahead. And I had some other that's thank you, Alan. That's my report. But the main thing is this harbor management legislation, and to move that through. Otherwise, you can say, what are we doing? If we don't have any legal authority to review the applications that we've just talked about, that's just not reasonable.
Yeah. And those letters that I sent you this afternoon, Alan, cover all that information.
And
I didn't have a chance to read those.
That's fine. That's fine.
I will.
But Representative Arzino attended the meeting of the Greenwich Harbor Management Commission last week, and he was very good. He understood the issue, and the Greenwich Commission that night spent just the same amount of time that you all did tonight, reviewing these two applications, or one registration for state approvals. And then we talked about, if we have no legal authority to do that, all this work and thoughtfulness doesn't mean anything. It's just going through the motions.
Yeah, Jeff, we did have a meeting for the Veterans Park project with the Maritime Aquarium on, I think it was last Thursday, perhaps. The consultant there is sort of finished up their review, our program or recommendation. There are three suggestions of what they might do there. I believe that's they didn't have a transmittable document at this point, so it was more a slideshow.
We didn't know about that.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. Moving on to committees, Jeff Mangles, mooring and harbor safety.
Okay, so the online moorings are coming in. We have 40 approved, 26 are under review. All documents are going to have to be uploaded. We're not taking no for an answer. So transient moorings, the mooring tackle needs to be inspected as as stated before. Edwards Marine will be doing that. That's who put them down. That's who will be bringing them up and checking out the hardware and the tackle. We have to make sure that those visitors are safe, and we're responsible for the tackle. The new floats will be put in, or the new mooring balls / cans will be put in. Harbor safety. There was no safety related issues, but I just wanted to touch on something that I'm just starting to work on. That's the island cleanups. I'm coordinating that with the harbor master, who's actually in charge of cleaning up the islands. I'm working with Ken at Recreation and Parks, and I'm also contacted the Boy Scouts to clean up and to beautify the campgrounds, if you want to say that. The one person I'm in touch with and I'm going to meet with next week is an Eagle Scout, or going for his Eagle Scout ranking. So I'll keep everybody up to date on that. So we probably will take a trip out to the islands, not when it's this cold, but
It's this cold.
a little bit warmer and fine. Drone was purchased as stated. There was a delay in getting that drone, but it's going to be coming in next week, I think. So as soon as that's in, I'll let everybody know. It's not billed yet until it's shipped, and then I'll certainly let Chris know. And that's it. I yield back my time.
You, Jeff, any questions for Jeff?
One quick one, Alan, regarding that drone. Who's going to be using that?
That's going to be the police mainly.
Oh,
So
good. Okay.
Owen is trained, licensed. Owen Lee, who's the deputy harbor master.
That's perfect. I was just wondering because I know there's some hurdles to jump through with using those locally here.
Yeah. So he's already got the approval and all of that. So
Perfect. And he can sit in their new place and monitor the islands from afar. So that's great.
Yeah.
It'd be very useful for those of us who can't get in easily to the islands to have a tour too that way, the campsites, and see exactly what's there, because I think that's one of the outreach things for the community. It's kind of important in Norwalk with those islands. We do have this opportunities to have camping and more utilization. So it's all good, and we could do a little drone movie of what's out there for
sure.
those of us who can't get there easily.
Well, if you want to get out there, I'm going to enlist all of us to go out there with some rakes and things.
I think that's good.
Clean stuff up.
Yeah, I think we should probably
that-
enact some of the local clubs too, Jeff. See, what type of, usage from whether it be the large marinas to the boat clubs, and see who we can get to get involved.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've been out on Shimmons on a busy weekend. If you can't, you got to get out there early.
Yeah.
Anything else
That's
for
it.
Jeff? No more questions? No more hands raised? Moving right along. Next, Chris McDonald, Finance.
I don't have anything to report. It's a pretty quiet time of year for revenues and expenditures, so I don't have any updates.
Did you give me a copy of up-to-date, more or less spreadsheet? Just
What we sent in, I believe I gave you that, right? Do I owe you something?
I haven't seen one for a little while. It's just our fiscal year, technically, not that we paid a lot of attention to it, ends in December 31st. So I'm just.
Yeah, our next meeting, I'll have an update of the year end to December 31st.
Very good. Very fine.
But we have, I thought you were talking about the grant application. You got everything you needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris is not here for newsletter website. Water
Alan?
quality. Yeah.
Plans and recs.
Did I skip over? Oh my gosh, I did.
That's okay, because I have something important to announce.
Okay,
And Steve Bartish, please confirm, but I believe that we're having the holiday party gathering on February 11th, Tuesday, February 11th. Place and time TBD.
Yeah,
Steve, is that right?
as far as I know, Commissioner Pageler's in charge, and he'll let us all know with the final confirmation once he books it.
Great. That's it for plans and recs.
Lori, I'm sorry.
You're muted, Alan.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Lori, is that February 11th, you said?
Correct.
The
So
Tuesday?
the Joint Shellfish Harbor Commission
Okay,
party.
all right.
And I guess they're working on a venue.
We don't have a
They
place,
mean
don't-
Shellfish.
no, we don't have a place or time yet. That's correct? Okay. That's a weekday night. It's a Tuesday night. Okay, I got it.
Correct.
thank you, Laura. Thanks for keeping a hat pinned on my head. Anything more for plans and recs?
Sorry,
Newsletter,
no,
Chris
that's
is
it.
not here as yet. He might get it. He had got his calendar mixed up a little bit. Water quality, we have no chair of the Water Quality Commission, so I don't know if there's any activity there at all. If anybody knows of anything going on, speak up. I don't. All right. Nominating committee, Dr. Pinto, chair of the nominating committee.
Alan, before we go into that, have we made a request to the mayor specifically about setting a chair of that, or is that our responsibility to set a chair for the water quality?
I sent him a note, a reminder note. I could do it as a person, as a personal note, but it seems that that's become dysfunctional very, very quickly. I don't know if there's any, and I don't quite understand why the chairman of that committee doesn't come from the committee, if you know what I mean. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Joe's resignation means there's no meetings anymore.
But the Harbor Commission has always taken a leadership role on that commission, on that committee rather.
I think you could also argue that it's particularly important now because the watershed-based plan is now being updated.
Yeah.
And a key element of that, following the DEP requirements is to address sources of pollution and the impact on the harbor. And we've also talked about, I know Harbor Watch has been doing a pilot project on the use of the DNA, the microbial source tracking method, to analyze bacteria based on DNA analysis to determine its sources. And we're hoping that they can finish that pilot project and that some of the results of that may be applied in the Norwalk River watershed. So there's a lot of water quality related, and I also mentioned to the watershed committee, and we're providing this, but our study, or I say the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission study of the bridge deck pollution from the I-95 bridge was perhaps the most significant study that's been done in the watershed with the beneficial results. So all that the issues about water quality, they don't go away. They're constant.
Yeah, so perhaps in the interest of working with the DNA? It's Harbor Watch, River Watch. Yeah, maybe we can certainly use some of the information. Maybe clone another Joe Schneerline somehow. I think this type of person that we should be looking for somehow.
Yeah, I don't think unless we do something that anything seems to be happening. Again, I don't understand. I don't know enough about the organization.
I think we're going to be the bubble maker, according to Harry Wonka. Was it Willy Wonka? We have to, I guess, come up with some key individuals that might be able to take the helm, so to speak, on that. Maybe we could sort of beat the bushes somehow. Yeah. All right. We'll look around.
Thank you.
All right. Any event, segueing up to your second up as far as nominations, Alan. So far, what we've gotten from the response from the committee members, commission members, is that we have the same current slate with Mr. Alan Kibbe on as chair, Mr. Jeff Mangels as vice chair, and Ms. Lori Jones as secretary. So that's the report from the nominating committee, and there's been, again, we have one more month to go, so not hearing anything, we're moving forward with our current slate.
Okay, thank you, John. The way this goes for the people who don't know our bylaws intimately, which I
Well,
don't either.
I sent a letter out to everyone on that regard.
Yes, you did. And there's the opportunity at the February meeting, next month's meeting is where we elect the slate of the 3 officers, but there's the opportunity for other commissioners, 2 commissioners can nominate someone who's not in nomination.
Well,
That
3.
could be announced at that meeting.
I think it's 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah, I think we have.
It's
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity, if you aren't happy with the slate, 3 members can nominate someone else for any of those positions. Thank you, John. Thanks for your work. Thank you who was your committee on that?
That was Matt and Matt Gifford and Chris Matthews. Is it Chris Matthews? Yeah.
No,
Mike
I
Matthews?
believe it was,
Mike.
I'm sorry.
Mike
it was
Matthews.
Mike Matthews.
I'm sorry, Mike Matthews. Mike Matthews, yeah.
Right, so we will get to the election of officers and any new nominations at the next meeting. What's not on the agenda is new business. Is there any new business that anyone would like to initiate?
Alan, I had one quick question based on the concerns about the, I don't want to bring up a bigger issue about our connection with DEP and the relationship with the importance of the harbor management, commission being able to review these things, but as what Jeff was mentioning earlier, I mean, how can we kind of set a precedence and make sure that we don't have this same issue, which I'm sure there's a tremendous amount of, community outpour about this concern, and that now it's kind of all of a sudden past them. And, us as the, eyes and ears of the city for all water related, activities, I think we should have been in front of this, and I feel like we kind of let some of these people down by having this pass by us, whether we were aware of it or not. So I guess how can we set this in motion to not let this happen again?
One of the things I think is we have staff at the planning and zoning office in Amelia, and I think that all of this communication needs to get routed through that area as first point of contact. I don't know how where things coming in, like the documents that got this on the agenda, but certainly we should be when everything comes in, we should get alerted immediately, particularly on these 440 situations, as we've just learned.
Yeah,
with,
we could do
Beach
that.
Road.
Yeah, we can do that, Alan. For example, as Amelia gets an application, sends it over to us, we'll immediately indicate, for example, what we didn't do is the day after that we received that application for 30 South Beach, we had to put on, again, according to protocol, that went on to the next month's meeting, but that was well in advance of the time frame that DEP could respond. So I think in the interest of time, as soon as we get an application, maybe to alert DEP that this item will be on a particular agenda at a particular time, that we reserve the right to certainly review that application in a timely manner, which I think we do. I think we have 45 days, something like that, to respond to that. But again, a 440 doc is a little different. That's sort of they like that. What Sue Jacobson was saying today is that they'd like to expedite those particular applications. And when I expedite, it could be that even the same day, or for that matter, even a few days after that they receive that application, that type of application. So it's on our shoulders to then communicate with DEEP that we reserve the right to review that application, to perhaps hold off when our next meeting is at, that we will review that application at that time. I think that's the only easiest way that I can see us, staying on top of this whole thing.
The other thing too, that my opinion is that, the only major thing that's kind of gone through since I've been on the commission has been the Walk Bridge project. And I think that regarding the relocation of the Eversource power lines, we really got sidelined on that. We really didn't have an opinion. They ended up going under our docks. I don't know that we, as a commission, if we, jumped on that at the very beginning.
No, we'll see that.
Right on the beginning.
We did, right. We did jump that, so to speak, jump on that right in the beginning, Alan. But what had happened was they went over our heads. They went directly to the city. And they
But I
went
don't, I just, I remember getting,
they went to DPW to verify their assurances that there'd be no problem going underneath the dock. And as far as I'm concerned, somebody in the city dropped the ball on that one. Did not include the Harbor Commission. We're involved in all that.
I think that's exactly what happened. And I sat through some meetings and we all probably did, where we kind of got sidelined, kind of publicly on that, or even in asking questions. I think that, we just we don't get no respect around here. It's cultivating relationships with all those departments with the city, which is really hard for us to do, not as city employees, but as citizens. But I think
I
that's
mean, how many letters did we write to the mayor and the common council and
Well,
Eversource asking for more
Well,
information about these? And
Yeah, a lot of hours have been spent, Matt, but
Thousands of
I
hours.
think in interest of that, we had talked about, and I think maybe an easy fix, not an easy fix, but I think it would be up to us. And again, Alan, we put together a very interesting a very good presentation of the sort of a resume of what the commission has done over the years, and present that to the common council, so that not only the mayor, but the people on the common council know who we are and what we do for the city. And I think that's very important that we start there and introduce ourselves as far as our being the first line of defense, so to speak, of infiltrating our waterfront, basically.
Well, our venue to do that is the state of the harbor, which we haven't done in about 4 years.
Right. Well, that's possible, but I think we should also get the ear of the common council members as well, because a lot of them don't know what we are, what we do, and who we are, basically, and what we represent. We were planning that when John Romano was chair. We had worked out an entire, as a matter of fact, it's still in the wings out in the wings. It's sort of sitting in abeyance, waiting for a presentation of our type, you, for example, or, or to present to the common council who we are and what we do. It's an excellent 20-minute presentation that puts together everything that we've done over the past, and the benefit that the Harbor Commission serves in this community.
especially with all the grants that Jeff's been able to, accomplish over the last year. I mean, this is some massive steps forward that I think we need to really promote.
Well, I think perhaps we should begin to start tooting our own horn, so to speak, as far as the accolades that we've done on behalf of the city, where we've always taken a back seat on anything that moved forward so far. Well,
well, I think it's also, the good example toward that is Jeff Mangles has been working with Parks and Recreation about getting these campsites fixed up, which is really
there you go. Exactly right. Yes.
And so what builds the most trust is his chatting with Ken and Robert Stowers about doing this project, getting this work done, making it better for Norwalk, and that kind of shows in that case, the Recreation and Parks, the expertise that we have, as well as the enthusiasm for the community and for the harbor. And I think that's what we kind of have to do individually. I've worked with Jim Frayer, who's in charge of DPW. He's the city council person that deals with DPW. We've had some conversations about the deep and Eversource power lines.
But I think it should come directly from the top, Alan, from you, come from the top, where we put a consolidated effort to show all of we have various committees involved in what the commission does. We have several people who have reached out in many directions that provided some benefits to what we do. And I think that should all come together under one guise, as far as the presentation to the common council.
Sure, I do, but I think anywhere we can have a relationship with anybody in the city government.
I realize that, and we've had a great communication with Steyers and certainly, well, obviously before we had Mike Mulcahy.
But John, just one comment, if you don't mind, on the Eversource project. But we literally spent, as Matt said, I'd say thousands of hours on this. And when the project started, we were very fortunate to enlist as without having to pay him anything, probably one of the foremost experts in electric utility construction in the country. We were able to do that through the connections with the town of Greenwich. And he was the one that, if it wasn't for Mr. Mailman initially, when the initial proposal for Eversource was to thread the lines between the pilings of the dock, we understood all of the issues about that. And I still think that, it's unfortunate that I don't believe we ever gave the proper recognition or credit or thanks to Mr. Mailman for all the work he did to help us without expecting any compensation for it. But to say we didn't, we did the best we could with Eversource, and we were, behind the 8 ball to start with, including from the Connecticut Siting Council.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
what happened after that process? The legislature realized that the Siting Council had a unacceptable regulatory bias towards the utility company, and there was legislation to reform them. But anyway, we did the best we could at the.
But it's just that there are a lot of, it's just a matter of getting your paddle in the water, your spoon in the cup, and stirring things up. And it's easier said than done, but that whole, there's a lot of things that fit into that besides, and it's kind of out of our bailiwick, but the whole fact that there's a transmission lines like 3 feet under the pavement, all the way down Elizabeth Street is just, to me, is nuts to do that, because it almost walls off part of the city from the other part of the city. It's almost like putting Super 7 down the middle of Norwalk, north to south. Now we have transmission
You're right.
cable. It really is
You're right.
something that everybody has to think about with any public work that goes on down there now. It's a big obstacle that has to be overcome, and they're right from the get-go, there I think are better solutions, and I think we just have to be more stamp our feet more. I was very put off by getting shut down by Vanessa, what's her name, one time, and I just there's a lot of expertise, a lot of experience, and we just have to be more aggressive about just reaching out to the people who are involved if we have something to offer to them. Because I think we're a very respectable group, and I think we need to show that we have knowledge and have experience and information to share with them.
You also realize, Alan, too, the person, so-called the former assistant to the mayor, is no longer with us, but she's now deputy assistant director of the DOT. So that I find kind of interesting that she came down here at the same time that this entire project got started. That is the Walk Bridge project got started.
Mhm.
And she was the initial one involved in the communication between Eversource and the city, when these commission lines these power lines were being stationed. So there's
we weren't consulted, and I think we would have had a lot of really good contributions to make about why they didn't make the best choice in my view, but it got made, and we didn't have opinion wasn't really valued, and we have to just work on.
Well, it's not only that too.
Changing that.
You have to realize that the hearing officer, this Kathleen Reiser, used that Greenwich case against us, that we have no authority to review an application to the state, and we were sort of left on the sidelines as having no more jurisdiction than any individual public servant.
Member of the public.
Can we move on? I'm not really sure what we're talking about in terms of
Just
future
talking
actions
about
here. We're talking about a lot of history.
No, but we're talking about, actually, I think it's a valuable conversation, is moving forward for the commission, and there's, more to it than us talking with each other. We really have to make any connection we have, within the city.
Well, come to the end. I mean, Chris, as far as my final statement is concerned, is I think we have to make a formal presentation to the powers that be, and that be the members of the Common Council in the city, to tell them who
I
we
think
are
that's an excellent idea.
and what we should do.
What's the action item there?
What do you mean the action item? The action item would be,
We've talked about that for 3 years, so how do we make it happen this year?
well, we just have to see if we can get ourselves on the agenda.
So whose action item is it? I'm sorry jumping in here being a bully executive, but I get frustrated when I hear the same thing 6 and 7 times and nothing.
I would have to say that it's certainly maybe up to the chair or us. I mean, we will back Alan. Alan should be the one to present this.
I'll try that.
Good.
But we have all the information that Alan needs to present that. We've got our photo, we got, slide presentation, PowerPoint presentation, all together. We just have to embellish it a little bit more with what, for example, with what Matt has been doing, what Chris has been doing, what Jeff has been doing, and we can add to that. And I think the application, the presentation itself should be no more than a half hour. Not even.
But I'll go back to saying that so much depends on relationships with people, and with all this too. So presentation is fine. I'm all for that, but it's also very important for you trust the people you know, the people you've talked with, and I think that's we have to do a lot of that and being in people's face about what we know, what we can do. Too,
and I think, Alan, just kind of putting full circle on this and wrapping it up, is that it's so important to allow these other agencies and people to know, A, what we're doing, what we've been involved with, what we could be involved with, but also what our frustrations are as the eyes and ears for all harbor related items. And we've been basically passed over on multiple occasions on all these other issues that we want to make sure that going forward, that doesn't happen. And so, yes, we're looking to introduce ourselves. Yes, we're looking to make sure you know who we are, et cetera. But here's what the problems have been. Here's why we're frustrated with it. And I mean, we how many, I can't fathom how many letters we sent to the mayor, common council, et cetera, about not getting enough information about DEP, Eversource, you name it, over the last 3 years. It's been overwhelming. And it makes me want to throw up every time I'm going over the bridge and, you know, it's down to one lane because they're still drilling all that stuff that finally is ending this past week. But it's been 3 months. And I think that's the overriding issue, is that we're frustrated. We're an agency and an arm of the city, and we're really not able to do what we're positioned to do because we're being looked over. And I think that's kind of what I was looking to get at full circle. And if we can do a presentation, whatever, you know, there's a number of us involved here that would love to help out in any capacity to kind of get this across and get us to the other side of the road. So I guess that's my takeaway.
Oh, good. It all takes all of our time to do that, and that's what's we have to get involved. But I you know, it's
Alan, a lot of the basic underlying work has been done. Let me put it that way. It's been done.
for
We
presentation.
just have to focus it together, and you know, we can get this presented after the February meeting sometime. You know, moving forward to February, March, somewhere's around there.
What you want, we want to be in a situation where people think of they want to ask the Harbor Commission how to do things rather than try to find out ways to keep the Harbor Commission out, which I.
Well, I don't want them to think that we have been, and that was the given mantra in the beginning with especially with Eversource and maybe the DOT, that the Harbor Commission was probably viewed as obstructionary. And we've constantly made that statement that we were not trying to be, you know, obstructionary or delay any project. We wanted to help the projects move forward because it's in our best interest to make sure that that happens.
We'll continue this conversation amongst us. I think, you know, everybody's ready to get off the on any other new business. Well, your piece. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion to
Chris,
adjourn.
All right,
second?
also that, yeah. Thank you.
Jeff? All in favor?
Sure.
All right,
Thank you all very much. Meeting adjourned.
right, great,
Thank
Alan.
you.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Alan.
everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.